Red Canyon controls 7 100% owned copper projects across the BC and Western US. The company is backed by a strategic investment from Teck. Their flagship, Kendal, in British Columbia, is currently interpreted as a lower grade halo of a large copper porphyry system. CEO is Wendell Zerb. Wendell was previously CEO of Exeter Resources, which was bought by Goldcorp Barrick in 2017. Wendell, welcome to Mining Stock Daily.
Thank you, Michael. Happy to be here.
Wendell, I'm going to let you introduce Red Canyon Resources. On page 7 of your deck, you say the company is at the discovery stage.
Well, that's right. Red Canyon was pieced together from scratch about 7 years ago now. We started it out on this concept to explore the big belts in North America for copper gold. Myself and the management team that I've put together have a lot of expertise in copper porphyry systems, and we felt that there was lots of room in these big belts in North America to actually really make big tier 1 scale discoveries. So we took the company public about 4.5 years ago with a portfolio of copper projects. We're constantly rebuilding that, working through different projects to advance them, and then obviously we pick out the ones that we think are most advanced or have the best potential for discovery. And currently we have 3 marquee projects, 2 within British Columbia. That's the Kendal project in west central BC near Terrace, BC. Our Inzana project area, which is in the Cornelia terrain, very close to Fort St. James, BC. And our other marquee project is Scraper Springs, which is in northern Nevada, but we think the geology is much more akin to the big copper targets and deposits you see in Utah.
I don't need to tell you, Wendell, that copper's been having a moment just regarding the high metal prices and then also the M&A that we've seen in the sector. Given your capital markets background and then also that it is a discovery company, talk about what works in this environment and how you see that you're going to be positioning Red Canyon.
Well, if we're talking about copper itself, to me, it's always been one of those metals that humanity really needs. And with the advancement of AI, with EVs, with data centers, and so on, we certainly know that there's additional demand that's come into the global world for copper. But the one that I'm always more concentrating on is really on the supply side of the equation. And I don't think as an industry we've done fabulously at finding new deposits. And some of this is because the easy ones have been found. It takes much more strong geoscience and effort to find new big copper deposits. But in the reality of all of that, we're going to be going into a deficit. There's lots of different groups out there that describe what that deficit might be. S&P Global thinks about 6 million tons within the next, let's call it 5 to 10 years. But you really just can't bring on that kind of scale. We just don't have enough projects in the works, and more importantly, we don't have projects that have the easy infrastructure to drive in and create that additional supply. So the bottom line to me is that we're going to go through a period of time where the copper price is going to be, I think, very good. Do I know what kind of levels the price will move to? No, I don't. But I know that major mining companies are going to want very good quality discoveries, especially discoveries that have great infrastructure and can be driven to production quickly. And that supports our business model, looking for big, large scale copper gold deposits that have good infrastructure that we think that majors are going to want.
Now, you note in your deck, Kendal, which you call your flagship, or mostly a flagship, that it is close to infrastructure. It is located in central BC. It's a 4 kilometer by 3 kilometer hydrothermal system. You say that holes have intersected significant porphyry style alteration. You do state, though, that so far it's kind of intramineral and not causative. What is intramineral in terms of the drilling results that you've had to date, and what you're looking for in terms of this being something that's larger?
So these copper porphyry systems, and we'll talk about this particular type, which is a calc-alkaline system. They can be very, very large in scale. And, when we talk about the hydrothermal footprint of the system, we're measuring that in part to the mineralogy, the alteration of minerals that we see on surface, but it's also somewhat defined by a very large scale geophysical signature we see in our mobile MT survey, which covers a big conductive zone that's about, like you said, 4 kilometers by 3 kilometers. But they're also very dynamic, within that large scale, and you can have areas of this big hydrothermal system where you get porphyry mineralization, but it's of modest grade. It's more peripheral to what we would call a porphyry center, and in these systems, a porphyry center theoretically and historically have higher grades. So we think we're on one of these peripheral zones. We don't think we're into a porphyry center, despite having every drill hole top to bottom in copper mineralization with moly. And just knowing, again, these systems and looking at how they can be dynamic, we believe we've got a vector to the higher grade parts of the system. Lots of examples worldwide where it's a very similar case. And in many cases, we have 10 drill holes into this. It's over, 1.5 kilometers by, say, 500 meters by 600 meters. And again, every hole mineralized, it tells us we're in this big system, but unfortunately not in the best part of the system yet. So there's more work to be done to vector to the high grade. And again, what you mentioned off the top of this is we have fabulous infrastructure. So that goes a long ways, should we be able to get the right kind of intercepts that we think we can get.
You've had some nice results from the molybdenum. I think the industry standard when I hear these interviews nowadays, Wendell, is just to say moly, because I'm always tripping over it myself. But talk about the moly piece that you see on that. Is it a separate system? How are you assessing that within the larger system?
So the moly that we're seeing is what I would call in two different sort of phases of the mineral system. We do see a series of veins as part of the porphyry system that is much stronger in moly, less copper associated with that vein set. But we get moly associated with other vein sets also that have more copper with them. So it's a little bit dynamic. And again, in these mineral systems, you sometimes have an actual separate moly phase, and sometimes it's associated with the copper part of the system. So again, really early for us. The last drill program that we had in place did hit a separate phase of moly veins that had some higher grade moly to them. But again, when we look at this whole mineral system and we look at some of the geochemistry associated, we also expect that we could come into a phase that has not only copper and moly, but could have gold. And again, I think we're just a little bit too early to really know exactly what the whole mineral suite is going to look like.
So you were talking about infill geochemistry and diamond drilling all starting in Q2 of 2026. How are you choosing the targets?
Well, our targets are always chosen in every one of our drill campaigns on a combination of what's available to us. Again, I think we've advanced a long ways in how you look for these porphyry systems. But for us, it starts from using magnetics, because magnetics are usually a big important part of a mineral system. We use other types of geophysics, but then it's really important to delve into geology, chemistry, and structure. So we're going to be using a combination of especially geochemistry as we go towards the east part of our mineral system. We become under a little bit of a thin veneer of till. So we have big soil geochemistry programs that we see a combination of elevated copper, moly, gold, and silver. Those are areas that are big targets for us. And then it's the combination of overlaying the different geophysics, especially our mobile MT survey, which we use a combination of looking at resistors and conductors. We're still strongly considering doing some additional geophysics, which would probably be IP, which is very commonly used geophysical technique in the business. We've been holding back from IP because the system itself has probably 3 to 4% pyrite throughout, and we've been a little bit concerned that all we're going to get is a big chargeable feature, which sometimes is what you're looking for IP to do, is bring you into sort of that pyritic zone. So we have several high priority targets. They're just east of where we've drilled. There's also some surface breccias that commonly are central to a porphyry system. And we're going to do some infill geochemistry, additional geophysics, and then we're ready to drill test this in late summer.
Now, Wendell, the other project that you wanted to highlight was going to be a Scraper Springs that's heading down into the U.S. You said that there has been interest in the project. You described it as being drill ready, and quote from your website, you're testing for a large tier 1 scale copper gold porphyry system.
Well, Scraper Springs has been in the portfolio, almost since the inception of this company, and we recognized through some third-party work that this had all the characteristics of having an alteration footprint that was suggesting a big copper porphyry system at depth. Scraper Springs was explored in the past by junior mining companies and majors, and quite a few very shallow RC drill holes looking for Carlin-style gold or epithermal gold, but they never really looked at the big alteration footprint as part of a porphyry system. When we look at the intrusions we have at Scraper Springs, they're the same age. They're Eocene intrusions, the same age as Bingham Canyon out at Utah. We've had third-party expertise that has looked at the surface mineralogy. We think we have these big upwelling pyrophyllite, zunite, quartz feeders or outflow zones, and all the chemistry that we see, is suggestive that we're into a big porphyry system at depth. So we've done a whole combination of geophysics, geochemistry. And the last big geophysical program that we've just completed is a large ZTEM survey that we think is really helping us sort of look at the basement architecture. We got the right kind of geophysical features to test. Right now, we think the top of the system sort of is probably in the 300 to 400 meters below surface, and feel that we've got several areas that are primary initial drill targets that we're hoping to test here as early as fall. But if we can't get to it, we're hoping to push that into spring next year.
Other assets that you want to highlight outside of Scraper and Kendal?
Well, we're doing a really interesting drill program right now in central British Columbia. It's our Nzana project area, but we're concentrating on a few target areas in a location we call Osiris. We started this program about a week ago, and we're testing for high-grade copper gold alkalic systems. These are often referred to as pencil porphyries. They occur in clusters, but they usually have that higher grade copper and gold associated with them. We were drawn to this area by the geology, by some really significant regional structures and cross structures, and by some historical drill results. The camp target that we're drill testing right now has had some historic copper gold intercepts in them, or in it. And just knowing these systems, we feel that we've got a great shot of expanding that mineralization, looking for again the better parts of it. And again, there's multiple targets in that area that could be clusters of these to really drive the economics. So it's a dynamic project. Lots of really exciting alteration mineralogy and copper gold like on surface. So we'll see how this drill program goes, but again, quite excited about it.
Now you have these 7 projects, and you have all of the outlined work that you have going on. I'm just interested in how you're allocating your resources, Wendell, and as you look kind of further forward, how you're actually going to be looking at structure of the company. So you did announce earlier this year that you raised $3.5 million. I'm looking at the market cap right now, about $12 million that I see right now. Given your resources, where you're at right now, how far do you go? What do you look in terms of further advancing these, and when you're doing potential raise or looking at other types of business structures for Red Canyon?
So so our balance sheet today is at about $3 million, and a small market cap at 12 million. We have a very tight capital structure, about 75 million shares out, but when you break that down, almost a third is held by management, almost a third is held by early institutional interest and high net worth individuals. And of course, as you mentioned, Teck Resources has taken a 9.9% equity interest, largely based on Kendal, but they like some of the other things that we're working on as well. So we have some capital that's being deployed right now. A big strategy that we have used is to raise charity flow through. Looking for copper, we get an extra 10% premium, and the way that works is we have flow through funds that want to pay the extra premium, and then that is then sold back immediately to a back end buyer that wants to keep the stock. So we get almost a 1.6 times premium for our British Columbia assets. So this is in part to why we've concentrated on Nzana, on our Kendal project. We are in a good position from a capital standpoint, but small cap companies are always interested in additional capital to fund these drill programs. We try to allocate capital to, again, the projects that we think are most impactful for discovery and for obviously upside for shareholders. So we'll be allocating some capital to this Nzana project I just mentioned. We're hoping to drill again at Kendal, which could still have another charity flow through associated with it. And then the Scraper Springs one, we're again always looking at our budgets. We probably again would be looking for either an association with a major mining company on that one, but we have some capital to start that program and deploy capital sparingly, but ideally on the best projects that can be impactful.
What's it like right now getting a hold of drillers and labor right now, just given all the money that recently flowed into the resource sector?
Yeah, we have an outstanding diamond driller that we're working with, and we've been able to secure for this particular program and for Kendal. We also have a sister company working out of the Reno office that has great connections to diamond drillers and RC drillers out of the Nevada area. So we've been pretty fortunate to be able to secure quality people. I know it is a little bit tight out there, and a lot of the diamond drillers, especially, have been tied up. And same thing with consulting geological groups and geophysicists and so on. We have a great internal geological team that works with us at Red Canyon. So we're in a great position right now, and feel fortunate about that part.
Lastly, Wendell, so sum it up for us. What's going to be the news flow over the next 12 months? What's something that investors should focus on in terms of what you think will be catalyzing events?
So Red Canyon business model is entirely geared towards making new copper discoveries. And again, I mentioned it before, where we're actually looking for these new discoveries are in, the best belts in North America. We have great expertise in using the geoscience that not only management has the expertise in, but also third-party expertise. So I would say, an investor for Red Canyon is looking for that discovery upside. We mitigate the risk by, having the background knowledge, exploring in great jurisdictions in North America, and we'll be testing multiple really high-profile targets that we think have great potential to create that value within the company, and that's going to be continually the business model for Red Canyon moving forward.
Wendell, you told me at the start of this interview that you're going to be heading into the interior, BC interior, for visiting one of your projects on the weekend. So we do appreciate you taking the time for Mining Stock Daily this morning on Friday.
Thank you, Michael. Heading to the airport right now.
The information presented should not be considered investment advice. Mining Stock Daily and its affiliates are not responsible for any loss arising from any investment decision in connection with the material presented herein. Please do your own research or speak with a licensed financial representative before making any investment decisions.